look at him. I mean, really, look at him. What an asshole. I mean, charming roomie. I'm still getting paid for this, right? Okay, let's do this. Welcome to Rest in Pieces, the game about deadbeat roommates that share a pad with the coolest guy ever, the Grim Reaper. A dark comedy tabletop RPG that plays with a two-color Jenga tower, with influences from your favorite shows such as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rick and Morty, and The Regular Show. But none of us are that funny, Grim. The game utilizes unique cards and the knockoff Jenga tower to create ridiculous stories about bad days and difficult friendships. The best thing is you can pick up and play in less time than it takes to put more toilet paper on the roll. Click the pledge button and become roomies today at a month-to-month rate that is well within reason for minimum wage. Wait, Grim? Grim, are you renting out my room?
Hello everybody, it's me, disembodied voice of Charlie. How we doing? I have an amazing, I'm just gonna keep talking like this now apparently. I have an amazing cast joining me today. Is this offensive? Should I stop? Let me know.
Yeah, a little bit.
Alright, so let's go around and say hello to our amazing cast joining us today for this killer one-shot of Rest in Pieces. I'm going to begin with the creator of the game, the wonderful Pete. Pete, this is your baby. You did this. Hi,
it is.
It's my hand again.
It's my demented, twisted little baby. My name's Pete Petrucia. I make games at Imagining Games, and I'm Death's BFF as I'm running Rest in Pieces for you.
And I'm so excited to be doing this. We've had this plan for a long time, and I'm so glad it's finally here. And I have a Jenga tower on my desk, and this is not terrifying in any way, shape, or form. Something that's not terrifying in any way, shape, or form is the beautiful Brian joining us for the first time on Encounter Roleplay today. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hello. Beautiful. That's the first. Thank you. And
And a
I don't hear
last.
that often. And a last. Yeah, probably. Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to play this.
I am very excited to have you play this.
How come I can't tell by your facial expression? You're like that guy who's laughing, but it's a fake. There we go. Nice.
I can't believe. Oh, gee. It's gonna be a long game, isn't
All
it?
right. From one beauty to another, let's drop on down our overlay to the wonderful Chunk. Welcome in.
Hello.
Friend, how you doing?
Friend, how's everybody doing? I'm Chunk. Hi, Charlie. Where's your face, Charlie? Okay,
Right there.
everybody.
I do have a face. My hair is tied up because I'm so stressed. All right. Something I'm not stressed about though is having the professional wonder that is Cucumber here on Encounter Roleplay.
Oh,
Well,
my.
that's exaggeration.
Thank you. No, shut up.
That's
Chuck.
extra.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cucumber. Nice to be here. Very excited. And yeah, no pressure, but really don't fuck that up, okay? With the tower, we're counting on you.
Yeah.
No pressure though. Like it's all literally in your hands, but no pressure though.
It's right. It very slowly
She's over
rotates.
digging
You
that
can
sweater.
get angles.
Okay. I want to motorize that so bad. Be awesome.
I want to speed it up.
I
so
should
it
have
goes
got
real fast.
one of those cake stands or like the sushi stands that you rotate slowly to get to the different dips and stuff. I should have done that. But instead, we have Yodi mouse mat spinning around on my desk.
I do
I
love
think
all the
without
looks
further
we're getting
ado,
from
I want to say thank you to anyone watching on YouTube. Please do leave us a comment down below. Put your bets in now on how many minutes this tower remains standing right on the edge of my little tiny desk. And I'm going to hand over to Pete to guide us through this wonderful game that is Rest in Pieces.
Thanks. First thing, Cucumber, I love the sweater. What's the story with the sweater?
Oh, thank you
Is
very
that a
much.
sword on your shirt?
Oh no, this is that's the token symbol. So this was hand crocheted by a friend of ours in Denmark. This is my favorite. Why are you shaking your heads? It's awesome. Shut up.
Nerd.
Not
We
friends.
just try to hear about it every day. Every day
People
you're
keep
sweating.
asking me. It's a
token.
conversation piece.
Ugh.
Jesus. Some culture.
Okay. Some culture. So we're playing Rest in Pieces today. So each of you finally gets to be a deadbeat roommate. Too close to
That's
home?
What if I already am?
Okay, and let's see. So, first of all, what we need to figure out is each of you have already got cards in front of you that unfortunately the audience cannot see, which describe a dead-end job for each of you. They describe an odd hobby for each of you. They describe a deadly object that you have. They even describe some pet peeves you have, things that bother you about one another. And each of you has a pipe dream, a little hidden objective, a little goal, a thing that you would hope one day you could achieve. This may not be that day, but you can try. What I need to know, though, is what are your character names? Do each of you have a character name?
I'm just gonna play me.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna be Chuck.
We got Chunk.
Let's see. I'm gonna be a guy named Tad. I feel like Tad is the proper name for a game such as this.
Ted.
You look like a Ted.
And Brian, what do you
that's
think?
great. That's a great name. Oh, I was thinking of like Jeffrey.
Okay. Jeffrey's all right. Jeffrey. Now, Brian, can you look at what's your job? I'd like to have that in front of me.
Let's see. My job is looks like I'm a parking lot security guy.
All right.
Yeah, don't mess with me. I will make sure your car doesn't leave the lot.
And Cucumber, what's your
That's
job?
all I can do.
So I'm a gas station attendant, so I will make sure your car leaves my lot. Full service. I imagine I have a hat.
And then Chunk, what's your character's job?
I'm a sandwich artist,
All right.
so I'm gonna make sure you get fed a lot.
Okay, so in Rest in Pieces, each of you plays a fed-up deadbeat roommate that's stuck sharing an apartment pad, in this case, a basement studio apartment, with the Grim Reaper. So, enter Death. We have Death is not like necessarily the Reaper of Souls that you're used to. Death is a little lazier, a bit of a slacker, if I can, kind of obsessive, a little needy, and you all live with Death in Death's dungeon, which really isn't so bad. I mean, it's a basement studio apartment. We like to think that it's got coffin-shaped cabinets. It's got a nice little island, obviously an old big tube TV with some good antennas. There is the one lone bathroom, which has a bit of a rusty tub. And each of you there have a place that you sleep in this cramped studio apartment that doesn't have a bed for each of you or a room for you to escape to. Where do your characters sleep? Anybody want to go first?
I sleep. Sure. I sleep in a Darth Maul inflatable chair from the early thousands. Still works. It's a little faded though, because like I like to curl up in the sunlight like a little lazy cat person. But yeah, it hasn't popped yet.
I have like
it will pop.
I have a large dog bed that I bought at a yard sale.
That's
Ooh.
yeah, you picked mine.
And
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
It's been washed a bunch of times. There's still dog hair on it because I can't seem to get rid of it.
I mean,
Maybe
Brian,
the two of you
could
spoon.
share the
You both
dog
want a
bed.
dog bed.
If Jeffrey
I
and
mean,
Chuck both want to share the dog bed.
I mean,
Oh, with that guy?
I'll do it.
I mean, he does look kind of cuddly.
I am cuddly.
All right, we're sharing the dog bed.
Sounds like a plan.
More
Okay,
Maul for me.
I get the ride.
so as each of you can see, there is a tower named Charlie over there with a floating hand. In this game,
Oh.
well, you actually touched it.
That was almost
don't do that. So
Already
in this
almost
game,
ended
instead
the
of
game.
rolling dice, Yeah, it's almost over. Instead of rolling dice, players would normally pull a block from the tower to see if they succeed at things. Thankfully, we have Charlie to do that for all of us. You get one touch at that block tower to hopefully pick a good block to try and pull out. Now, as anybody who's played Jenga before knows, some of those blocks won't move, and some of them are pretty loose. The two colors represent when you go to do something, I'm going to either figure out if I think it's a selfish accent, if it's a selfish action, or if it's a selfless.
Where does the selfish accent originate from?
Yeah.
That was a great question.
One of those. So that's kind of my job. If you want to get more touches, so a better chance at succeeding, you're going to have to use one of those cards that I mentioned earlier. Your odd hobby, your deadly object, or your dead end job. You're just going to have to use the loose concept of something like the parking lot security guy and saying, well, with that, I probably have a taser, or at least I have or I have a pretty good shtick of what I tell people that sounds threatening, even though I have no actual authority. So you can use these basic concepts to justify why you can touch more than one block, hoping with a better chance to succeed. You can either successfully pull a block, you can give up and fail, and that's fine, or the tower can fall over. When the tower falls, the game, this episode of the story ends, and we possibly go on to another episode, or we call it a wrap. So we have the length of the existence of that tower most likely for this game.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
You
I
blank
will
there.
have some, I guarantee it.
All right. And as I mentioned to the three of you, so you have these cards. What audience can't see is in Tabletop Simulator, we have the cards laid out. So you will flip these cards when you use them, so we can't keep going back to the well for the same things over and over again. When you do pull from the tower, you will get to keep the block. It will not go back on top of the tower. So these blocks add up, and they're your influence amongst the other roommates. As that happens, you'll also get a middle finger card that will be something that you can use to maybe possibly screw over the other roommates to get some advantage for yourself, or to use against death, or to find something cool.
I think Cucumber has a permanent one of those.
That's true.
Well, that's a good
People
thing
had
to
a silver
mention too.
spoon?
I mean, this game, while it's cooperative, possibly, it encourages you to screw your neighbor, to give them a little grief, to cause chaos, because roommates do that often by just thinking about their own needs more than everyone else's.
It's like
So
I was
you were
made for this
encouraged
game.
to do that.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Hey, you had Chunk at You Can Steal Things.
Oh yeah. Brian, what you got?
So you said that we flip the cards once we use them. Do they get recycled, or do they get reset to use them again, or do we get new ones?
When you use another card, you get to unflip one of the ones you'd previously used.
Got it.
Okay, we're just about ready to start, so I should mention a couple things. So I know that we have a giveaway for the first hour, and we also have a giveaway for the second hour. So Lydia, if you can hear me, can we cue up the first image of the brand new art print for Rest in Pieces? Ooh. So if you are a backer within this first hour of play, or you increase your pledge if you were previously a backer, I will mail you a 13 by 19 art print of this new image and send it to you this week. That's another reason to back or playing. And in the second hour, I have another special thing which we don't need to bring up yet, but there is a death plushie. And if you stay for the show, you can have an opportunity to win that in the second hour. So, okay, Lydia, you can bring us back. All right, let's get playing. So the first thing we do is we pull out this handy starter card, and it tells us a little prompt of getting started. I took the liberty of flipping a problem card, which gives me an idea of what the overarching problem is for this scenario.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it close to the chest just for your, I think surprises are fun. So, welcome to Coffin City. Here, our deadbeats live with Death, aka the Grim Reaper, in a basement studio apartment. More like a dungeon, if you ask me. The pad isn't all bad, though. It has... it is a large dog bed. And it also has a Darth Maul... was it inflatable chair?
Yep. Yeah, you like sit in his lap. It's dope. This is a real thing, by the way.
Where the deadbeats sleep. The real problem, though, is living with Death. Grim does what they want when they want. Like right now, they've been spending a lot of time away, messing with alchemicals and looking at weird books about the dead. But what do you say to the Grim Reaper? They will effing kill you. Our deadbeats are at their wits' end. So we begin in the basement studio apartment. Each of you seems to have a job that doesn't matter what time it is. So let's put it at, probably a good amount of time when everyone would wake up as deadbeat roommates. It's probably like noon. So 1 o'clock. Won't be so stereotypical. So it's 1 o'clock. The sun would be shining. It's a basement studio apartment, so there's just a little windowsill that's open that's got some light shining in. Who would be the first of you to wake up? I know we have a parking lot security guy, so that you could be a midnight worker. We got a gas station attendant. You could also have an overnight shift. The sandwich artist, though, you probably work day or nights.
Yeah, I have day. Mine's a day.
And mine's a night evening job because parking lots don't really need security during the day.
And Cucumber, what about you?
I'm part-time. I'm part-time gas station attendant, so I only show up if someone else is sick, and even then I don't show up half the time. I show up just to make enough to pay the rent.
All right, Brian, you sound like... Thank you, Charlie. Okay, so Brian, it sounds like that Jeffrey, you're the first to wake up. Chunk, when we get back to you, you'll already have been awake because you should have been at work. But we'll figure out why you were not. So Brian, waking up, you have the large dog bed. Can you tell me what you think that looks like?
It's definitely like well used. To where it at once was fluffy and nice, but it's not so much, particularly on my side. It's a little bit more mushed down than it used to be. It used to be a fresh gray color. Now it's a not so fresh gray color. And it has it's the one that kind of has the little walls that go up on the sides. But my side, the walls have been completely bent over because there's two of us trying to sleep on this thing.
Okay. You can hear, as you wake up, some people talking in the hallway. Now, it's an apartment building, so it's not strange to hear voices, but it sounds like a very official voice, a demanding voice that's coming from the hallway, though quite muffled at the moment. You see Chunk over by the door. Chunk, you've also heard someone going door to door in the apartment building. It sounds like maybe somebody works for the police, because they seem to be asking a lot of questions. What are you doing? Being the only one who's awake, a couple of these other slackers are sleeping. Death has been out a lot, so Death is not in the apartment at the moment.
I do the thing where you open the door just like a little tiny bit so you can hear what's going on down in the hallway.
Okay. As you crack it open, the first thing I should mention, this is a game about difficult roommates and bad days. So what can go wrong often does. When you go to open the door to listen in, it's a very good chance that the detective would just happen to be staring right at you, unless you pull a block from the tower. Do you have any abilities, any of the dead-end job, the odd hobby, or the deadly object that might help you in this situation? Or are you just another warm body and asking Charlie to just go for one block?
Playing with fire. I feel like I can probably my playing with fire because I'm used to risky situations. I'm used to like taking chances and doing things that I might get me in trouble. So I thought maybe that one.
So flip that card, and Charlie, if you will, why don't you pull a white block? Or at least try. You can touch two different ones before you actually pull one.
Charlie, don't screw it up.
Ah! Ah!
Oh no! Oh geez.
Ooh, okay.
Man,
Yeah, Charlie.
that skill though.
Okay.
I know which one
and
I'm
Charlie,
grabbing
actually, you're
next.
just going to remove it from the tower. You're just going to get rid of it.
Huh?
Nice.
Oh.
And on the other side, so you successfully crack that door open, and you see that there is a woman. Now, the funny part about the woman is that the woman looks really, really pale. The clothes on the woman seem to be like, I don't know, like extraordinarily dirty. Now, the hallway out here is very dimly lit. Like it's just got one of those, bad lighting, like one bulb in the hallway. And the detective is what you would kind of imagine, kind of got a long coat that's open a little, pretty clean cut on top. And they're standing pretty close to one another. But the woman just seems to be kind of moaning in response. Is there anything you want to do before I tell you more information?
I look back to see if any of the two idiots have been awake yet.
you see Jeffrey stirring, kind of pushing down the sides of the large dog bed.
Uh-huh.
And,
Can I grab something and throw it at one of them to try to get him
Yeah.
to wake up?
now, Cucumber,
I look around.
it seems pretty fitting. Oh, sorry, not to interrupt you, but Cucumber, you said your character's name is Tad. So why don't we just have you coming
Yeah.
out of the bathroom?
Sure. Flusha. Do-do-do-do. Yo, Chunk, what are you doing at the door, man?
Dude, there's like I think a cop out here with some lady. She's moaning for
Cool.
some reason.
Oh, moaning. Get out of my way. I go and lick up the door.
Okay, as you two sort of pile towards the top, you can see that the man's questions. Now you can start hearing the questions. So we have a missing cat, we have a missing landlord, and we now have a small boy, who all seem to have disappeared from this apartment complex. And you don't seem to care about this at all, do you? And as he pokes at the woman, he kind of pokes her, in the chest with his finger, seeming like not only demanding but just rude at this point. The woman actually just kind of like uncharacteristically kind of like flails backward, and both arms start moving towards the guy as if it was a zombie. And that moaning has now turned into this sort of horror movie-esque noise as you realize a lot of that dirt that's coming off the body almost looks like because it's a fresh corpse. As you get a glimpse in better lighting as the woman and the man kind of move and begin to wrestle a little bit in the hallway. Ted, you were the one who just kind of come up, and I can kind of imagine you almost pushing Chunk a little out of the way or peeping over Chunk's head. What do you do seeing this?
I would like to sprint over and grab my megaphone and then scream to like the entire hallway for everyone to evacuate the building. I want it to not just be us who's in this. Maybe someone else will help them because I don't want to help directly.
Great. So,
I flip in my
I
megaphone.
believe at Chunk, just so you know, in Simulator, I handed you the first middle finger card. So when you successfully pull a block, you get a middle finger card. At the bottom of it, it might say in red if there's a cost. But to use one of these cards, you're just going to, sometime in the game, read the top part. Like it's got some words on there that are bigger and bolder. The top and bottom, actually, it's a sentence. And in the middle, it tells you what it will do. So if you have any questions, you just ask me. Otherwise, you just choose when you want to play that. The next time you pull a block from the tower, you'll get a new one. So often you want to use these because you're going to lose it pretty quick and get another one.
Okay.
That is if you want to use it. You don't have. Okay. Because the benefit of having more blocks is you could get blocks from pulling from the tower is you can use more of these middle finger cards. If you have to fail on a pull, death doesn't kill you outright because you can pay death a block for your failure. Or if you have the most blocks, by the time the tower falls, you actually get the first say of what happens at the end of the story. So
Oh,
these are all
nice.
the benefits of having more pull in the apartment situation. Okay. Sorry, I keep interrupting with rules. Okay. So, Cucumber, you got your megaphone.
Got
You
my
start.
megaphone.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Now you're-
come look. There is assault in the hallway. There is assault in the hallway. Perhaps someone should do something. Not me, but someone. Good luck. And I put it back down.
Okay. It sounds like, especially the part where you said someone, not you. We should pull a dark block for this one to see if anyone actually does anything like you requested.
Yeah, I'm cool with that one.
And
That one's
Carly-
already halfway gone. Yes. Good, good, good.
Oh,
Excellent.
and speaking of that, I need to give you guys some blocks over here. And
Yay.
yeah, so in this case, why don't I kick it to you? So, Cucumber, Tad starts calling out to the hallway. Who do you think shows up? Now, there
I
was
would
a
like it to
detective
be like. I don't want it to be the detective. I want it to be the little old lady who lives down the hall by herself, and I want her to like do her best to stop this zombie while we watch on and amuse terror.
Awesome. I'm going to put a few more of these extra blocks over here for me to give out later. Okay. All right. And so you start calling out into the hallway using your megaphone. It's loud and boisterous, and you drown out all of the background noise of music in one apartment, a loud TV in the other. And a woman from just 2 doors down opens the door. As she comes out, she has a walker, so you hear the clank of thing. And as she comes out, she looks. What did you call her?
Miss Salisbury.
Salisbury.
Like the steak.
Okay. So Miss
It's because she's
Salisbury,
meaty.
she looks towards Dad and she acknowledges, "What a fine young man." As she looks over, she kind of screams, seeing the two wrestling and struggling in the middle. Deceptively, the woman, the possibly undead woman, seems freakishly strong because the man who seems larger and more fit, especially in this case, seems to be struggling very hard to keep her at bay. The woman that you called out, Miss Salisbury, she starts moving closer and accosting the both of them. "This is not right. I'll call the authorities." "Oh, you're an officer. What are you doing to that young lady?" She doesn't seem to understand that the lady may be part of the problem. Brian, we
I
haven't
do
heard
not
from
clarify.
you. You've heard. So Jeffrey is back on the dog bed. You've heard a loud megaphone go off. You've seen both of them clutter at the front door. What do you do?
Well, being a security guy, I jump up immediately and run to the door to see if I can assist in the situation. Along the way, grabbing my utility belt that I normally wear during my security guard shifts. So that way I can be ready and prepared for whatever is on the other side of that door.
Excellent. Okay, so the two of them are kind of in your way. Do you push them through, push them off to the side? Do you open the door more and run past them? How do you get by them?
I kind of squeak through and push the door just to get a better look at what it is he's yelling about. I don't quite push them out of the way, but it's more just like climbing, like reaching over their shoulder and pushing in. Okay.
Brian, you find yourself in the hallway. You are standing there. You see the woman with a walker getting really close to the two struggling. The two struggling have now fallen to the ground. The detective is on bottom, and the woman, who is clearly decaying, is not only freakishly strong, is starting to flake off on the detective, and parts of her are starting to fall onto the man and uncomfortably onto his face. Right? Yeah. The lighting's bad, so for kids, they don't have to imagine all of that. So, what do you do? Another door swings open. You hear a scream.
And I look down at the decaying body, and I start gagging a little bit, and I kind of turn away. And I said, "Guys, this doesn't look very good." Yeah, I get real queasy at the sight of this decaying body, because even though I'm a security guard, I'd never seen anything like this before. So I'm tempted to just go back to the dog bed.
Okay, there you go. Nice. How very I was gonna say how that sounds like an excellent degenerate action, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
Um, you hear from the stairwell. There is another person who is clearly calling for help into some sort of a radio. It's very quick for you to identify that it's probably a police officer, but the police officer is backpedaling down the staircase that leads to the lower level of the apartment where you are, and the guy is like, Johnny, what's going on? And saying this over their shoulder. There's others. There's more. Sorry, as I'm told, we did hit a sub goal, so there's an extra middle finger card for our players. Amazing. Okay, so we throw those over. So now
Thank you.
the real choice is if it's a middle finger card. Yeah, so that's actually for everybody, isn't it? All right. So each of you will usually only be able to have one middle finger card at a time, but now each of you can
we're
have
special.
two. Yeah.
Oh,
And for a couple of you that didn't have one yet, you get one. Okay. All right. And it looks like a couple of people got their blocks. Thank you. All right. So the police officer's backpedaling and falls down the stairs as something reaches and grabs his leg as he's moving backwards, rolling down. Another 3 to hit. Okay. You hear the rough and tumble fall. Now at this point, another person walks out of one of the rooms. Looks like a person who's very upset about the noise that's going on out here. Has an awesome heavy metal T-shirt. Probably looks in their 20s or so, maybe 30s. So it's got to be like a vintage shirt. And the guy just starts yelling, or at least that's just how the person talks. What is all the noise? I'm just trying to watch TV in here, but it's too effing loud. Clearly not understanding what's going on. And more people are coming out of the other rooms. You do see a dog that has now wandered out, but starts yelping immediately because there's something weird in the air. Brian, you told me you went back considering to lay in your dog bed. Chunk, you are
maybe
still
it was a bad dream.
now. Yeah, so Chunk, what are you doing?
Wait, did Jeffrey go back to his bed?
It looks like Jeffrey's walking that direction.
Yeah, I'm headed that way because I think it's a bad dream, so I just want to sleep it off.
No, I yell, "You're security guard, do something!" And before you can realize it, I've turned him around and like chucked him. For some reason, I because of my sandwich dexterity, I've built a lot of strength in my arms, so I'm able to toss him really hard at the lady because I didn't have anything else around me to throw.
Oh, geez. Okay. So go ahead and pull in this case. Brian, does Jeffrey have any? Would Jeffrey let this happen? Would Jeffrey even know that this is happening before it happens?
Yeah, well, because I'm an excellent parking lot security officer, I'm very aware of my surroundings and what's going on. So, if anything, I would have at least been prepared to fly towards this lady. If anything, grabbing my nightstick off of my belt to prepare for an attack or whatever happens when I land. But I would have been slightly prepared, I'd say.
Okay,
Maybe
so
a
it
little
sounds like
guard, but
no problem being thrown into the fray, but you're going to be ready once you're there.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, Chunk, why don't you pull a block and let's see if you threw Jeffrey in a good position or a bad position. You mentioned using your security. Did you use that last time for a pull?
No, I used my.
I don't know if it was for a
Wait,
Playing
who,
with
me or
fire.
Brian?
For me, I don't think it was for a pull.
For Chunk. Sorry, I was talking to
I
Chunk.
said. I was using my sandwich artist, so my strength from my my sandwich making.
That's right, the strong forearms. Okay, so
Yeah.
Charlie, can you pull a block? This is a dark block because Chunk is selfishly pushing the the security guard forward, not themselves.
I disagree, but we could go ahead with that. I'm trying to save the people.
Wow.
Charlie.
Oh, this doesn't look good.
You can fail.
Charlie.
You can fail. You can choose to fail.
And Charlie, you can touch one more still.
Oh yeah, we can try another one.
There you go.
That's the one. You got lucky.
Ooh, wait.
Ooh wee.
Okay.
The anxiety has already begun.
Chunk, do you see my pile of blocks over there, the blue ones? In Tabletop Simulator?
Yeah.
They're over there.
Yeah.
And just grab another one.
Okay.
Okay.
I have 2 now. Look at
Hey.
everyone else.
Everybody looks to you. You're the boss. You're the one who actually gets stuff done. Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, Jeffrey has been tossed towards these two. Chunk, did you have any special place you wanted Jeffrey to land?
Like I tossed him like for like to hit the lady. Like I was using him as a projectile to hit the zombie woman.
Jeff, you get thrown, and as you said, you can move to grab your nightstick in the air. You get thrown towards the woman. So how do you want to land, or what do you want to do to maybe the zombie lady is what it's starting to look like?
So, because Chunk said he threw me like a projectile, I would like to have grabbed my nightstick in midair and extended it forward, as like the tip of the sword or the tip of the projectile, aiming for her side. Since I'm assuming she's still on top of the police officer, so we are just jab right in her side.
Okay, all right. So Charlie, if you will, this sounds like a light block because you're actually trying to do something about the problem. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Charlie, I appreciate how rigorous you are with that. So each time you make sure to let us know that it's really in there.
That's like a wiggle.
Let's go.
So Charlie, you can touch one more block.
Yeah.
Oh no, you can choose.
Oh, why is that one stuck?
Uh-oh.
Why is that one stuck?
Bop, bop,
Oh.
bop.
Womp, womp.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to knock the tower over yet.
All right. So Jeffrey, do you have any? You have blocks, don't you?
I don't have anything yet.
You don't have any blocks. So this is a good moment to say that if we had enough retweets, maybe we can do something to save you. We'll give that a moment. I believe there's a
Yeah,
certain
save me.
retweet goal, and if we have enough retweets, we get to give a player a block. If poor Jeffrey doesn't have a block, Death is just going to happen to have been here or arrive, and not suffer the fool of Jeffrey's stupidity any longer and find some mundane reason or mundane, easily available thing to kill Jeffrey with. So we'll come back to that in a moment. I mean, the zombies there. I mean, he can just feed you to the zombie.
Gee.
Okay, Cucumber, Tad,
Let's do it.
what do you do?
So,
You see,
So as
you
a
see
full-
Jeffrey thrown forward.
yes. As a full service gas station attendant, but who is also a complete slacker, I like to think that I siphon off like the tip top of everyone's gas tank that I fill and take a bucket home at the end of every shift. So I take my bucket of gasoline out and I'm gonna run outside and dump it on the zombie and light her on fire. Cause
Oh,
I
great!
like Miss Salisbury and I don't want her to be seared, you know?
Now, I did mention that Jeffrey is there and the detective is there. Do you have some plans for how you're only going to get the zombie woman?
I'm going to do my best to only make sure the gasoline hits the zombie, but only my best.
Nice, nice.
Which isn't very
Charlie,
good.
Charlie, we're going to need a black block, please. You know, actually, honestly, the worst part about it is it's a light block. Yeah, Charlie, I need a light block because Cucumber's intentions are
Being
good.
selfless.
Yeah.
Kill the monster.
Which is
Light
fine.
block, aim for the yes, right there.
Oh, why did you take that? Oh, come on. Why wasn't mine easy?
Cucumber. What did you do? I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, nice.
Don't do this
nice.
to me, Chunk. Don't do this to me, Chunk. I set the zombie on fire. That's what I did, Chunk.
I used
So-
my middle finger.
Yeah, so Chunk, you
hate
can just
you.
throw that card back in the middle, just dispose of it, right? The
Okay.
card makes it so that Tad has to pull another block to succeed because the other roommates didn't see how cool it was.
I guess
So
we'll
Charlie,
do
we need you
another
to
one.
pull another light block. Otherwise, Tad never succeeded in the first place.
Okay, so I currently don't have this block that I just pulled over, right?
Yes, yeah. Just keep it in front of you for a moment.
Okay.
Oh,
get
fine,
to-
you get another easy one.
Oh yeah. So does that mean I have 2 blocks now?
lucky.
Like, well, 2 additional blocks?
Alright. You know, good question. Let me see that card. I don't remember.
It just said ignore the poll.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you get both.
So still just 1. Oh, I do get both. Yeah.
No, you get
thanks,
both, yeah.
buddy. Sweet.
3 blocks. You currently have the creative
Oh,
control.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you, Charlie.
So-
Masterful hands. Keep that up for me, but these guys will do whatever you want.
Masterful hands.
Listen.
Cucumber, did you get a card?
No, I got one from that first distribution, but I don't have one for this yet.
Yeah. All right, let me give you another one.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I gave it to the wrong person.
I never,
Is it that one?
I never got my
I got it.
second card.
Okay.
Ooh.
And they're right here if you want to
Oh.
grab one.
Oh, right there. Just grab one for myself.
Yep, thanks.
Oh no.
Sorry,
Accidentally
we are
pulled the
playing.
card.
We have different names in each program, so sometimes I'm like, I don't remember which character's who. All right,
I'm green. I'm always green.
Tad. Somehow you're going to manage to light mostly the zombie woman on fire. How does that work?
Oh, sorry, that's me. I was messing with my cards. So I nudge Salisbury out of the way. I'm like, no, save yourself, even though I called you over here. Boom, and then I just start glug 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 glugging like all over the zombie. And then I have like a little crappy pack of matches that are like buy the take a penny, leave a penny at my work. And it takes me like 2 or 3 matches to get it going. Like, damn it, yes, boom, and then she just goes up. She's still on top of the officer, and she's now lighting up the entire hallway as everybody's coming out in a panic. No, she's dead. I swear,
Yeah.
she's dead.
And you're noticing that there are several more people, standing outside their doorways in the hall. So there's probably about a dozen people in this hallway now, all kind of onlooking. There's a police officer that rolled down the stairs. It's very clear that someone or something tripped that police officer up. As you can see at the top of the stairs, another figure that is clearly skeletal. And it's a Grim. It's the Grim Reaper. And the Grim Reaper seems to pay no mind to the police officer and just steps over the police officer. Now, our Grim Reaper is short. Our Grim Reaper is probably about 4 feet. Let's 4.5 feet tall, 5 feet tall. With that hood and that scythe. He's had a few too many Twinkies, so he extends that robe pretty well. He's got these big wide eyes. Death seems to be really deep in thought about something or other, and is wiping the skeletal hands of some dirt. Paying no mind to all of you. He does look at Cucumber, looks over at Tad, like you do get Grim's attention. Just for a moment, and Grim starts walking towards you, but then you realize Grim's not looking at you. Grim's looking at Jeffrey. Grim walks up to Jeffrey, and staring at you, and then staring at the flaming body, and then staring at you, putting a lot of attention on you. Like you and that billy club are just laying on the ground, like laid out, looking like some kind of snow angel. Just in this ridiculous setup. And Death's just trying to figure out why you could be in the middle of it looking so silly. Chunk, what are you doing?
I'm over there looking through the charred body, kicking it around, trying to figure out what the hell this was. I'm just kicking it.
Okay, so the fire goes up. Doesn't look like we got enough retweets. So, Jeffrey, what is the most mundane clothes item available for Death to kill your character?
A leftover Amazon cardboard box. Like right outside somebody's door from a from a
Yeah, like that.
from a package they
Nice.
got on Prime. They
So,
got
yeah,
something on Prime Day, so they left the box outdoor.
I can only imagine that Jeffrey is like, no, Death's giving me the look. And looking at the zombie who's on fire, right? That'd be the easy way out. If you were going to kill someone, right? Just, I mean, there's a flaming body right there. Just, slap them together like a sandwich. But this is the master of death, right? This is the Grim Reaper.
Mhm.
So Grim doesn't take the easy way out. Grim reaches over with a scythe, flips an empty Amazon cardboard box that just kind of rolls down the scythe, takes it, and first of all, I should ask you, did you have any ideas or things that you'd like to say about how Death would use this to kill Jeffrey?
I feel like he would use the edge to give me like 1,000 paper cuts, cardboard cuts. It's like as if you were going to open the Amazon box yourself, and you're like, "Ow, jeez, why did that hurt?" And then, yeah, because that's like the lamest way to go.
Okay, so this would actually take a little time. So Death is actually taking a little time. Tad, I'm sorry, your flaming body drew everyone's attention and was very exciting, but then is now being a little overshadowed by Death, who is taking a sweet time killing Jeffrey in front of what's an audience with 1,000
I still
boxes.
win.
Is this because he didn't take out the trash? Like, what's going on, man? It's a bit of an overreaction, don't you think?
Death looks to you. You realize that effortlessly Death is killing Jeffrey. What good is it to have a security guard who can't even deal with a flaming zombie woman? He seems
We're
really
in the
unhappy
middle
about
of
it.
it.
I hold my hand
man.
I'm holding my hand and I take 3 steps back. So I'm like, you got a point. You got a point. You got a point.
Now, so in your case, Brian, in the background, you were free to throw another character together. So you just, as you know, easy come, easy go, right? Your roommates. Another one can just show up being like, "Hey, I heard you were looking for a roommate." So in your case,
Yeah.
the cards are a little hard. I'll throw 3 more at you as we go, and then think of another
Okay.
name if you want of another roommate that could be
Okay.
showing up.
I
the
think that
blocks
Jeffrey
that we
will
have?
still be dying for like the entire event, though, just slowly bleeding.
I'm slowly dying. Yep.
Yeah, Death just uses the scythe to make like some animated motion where the box just keeps spinning, and it's just like,
Ugh.
and Jeffrey, yeah, right. Jeffrey's just like kind of stuck like some kind of cartoon character that's just being assaulted over and over again, kind of being pushed off to the side against one of the walls. The detective gets up. The detective looks to Tad. Oh,
Hey, buddy.
you saved me. Who are you?
Oh, hey, I'm Tad. I run out the Darth Maul chair down in the basement. The guy who's slicing up my friend over there. That's kind of our landlord. It's best not to ask a lot of questions, sir.
He's saying, do that. He's like, I don't know about that, but there's more of these people disappearing, and there's more sightings of people turning into raving, lunatic, dead people. Do you know anything about what's going on here?
I have theories because I've seen some movies, sir. But first, I gotta ask you: Did Flammy Lady over there? Did she give you a little nibble? You got a little chomp on you?
Sorry, it's too good not to say that, right? As you're looking at him, you don't see anything at first, and then you see these very thick scratch marks that seem to be along the necks. You can't quite tell, but there's blood drawn, and who knows? I mean, does fire bite? Could it be scratches?
I'm going to casually like put my arm around him and walk him over to. So you said we're on an upper level of the apartment, right?
You're actually in the hallway on the lower level.
Ah, crap. Let's
So there's a
walk
staircase
to the
going up.
rooftop and get a better vantage point, sir, so you can show me what you're talking about.
Okay, As the two of you go towards the staircase, you can see that there is another body that's walking that looks kind of skeletal, but you already saw Grim go by. This is a much more decayed body that's half skeletal, and it doesn't walk down the stairs. It's actually walking up the stairs, but it came from outside.
So yeah.
So as you're you go a few steps up, and you and the detective just kind of stop and see that one figure moving upward, paying no mind to the two of you.
Let's follow that one. Guys,
Okay, I'm
come on.
gonna be right behind you.
Okay.
And I hold on. I hold on to the back of Tad's sweater,
Ding, 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 ding.
and I hide. I just peek around.
Actually, we can keep those two. I'm gonna keep for Brian. I'm gonna keep your Jinx over here. Your two pet peeves, since they didn't come into play yet, so no reason to ditch those yet. And then let me just throw you 3 more cards. I threw you a pipe dream over there, and here's a dead end job. And as we do a little housekeeping here, and wow, here's don't need the whole deck. And here we go. All right, should give you something to work with. And all right, back in action. So I'm sorry, what was the last thing that was said?
Chunk is following directly behind me as we. Yeah, we're following the zombie up the stairs.
Oh, okay.
Chunk,
what are your thoughts when you see that creature up there? The three of you had to walk over a police officer who's getting up. The police officer seems to have like a writhing pain that's coming from their ankle, just kind of holding their ankle, and had kind of pushed themselves along the base of the staircase.
Gross. What do I have? And we're just on our way to the second level. That's not high enough to use my other thing. So I wanna stomp the ankle with no extra touches. I just wanna pull for it.
You just immediately stomp the ankle. Okay. Charlie, would you please touch a block? Now, Cucumber, why do you want to do this?
To limit that motion, you know. I don't like an enemy that can come at me too fast.
Okay, Charlie, I think it's a dark block.
Oh, yeah. Choose that one.
That one.
I guess I'll fail.
Yeah.
I don't
unless there's anything else you want to pull to the situation.
Oh wait. No, that's not how that works. Let me see. No, I got nothing to this.
Grim is walking towards your apartment to go back inside, happy with what's going on with Jeffrey and the animated box. Grim walks over, is just walking by to open the door, and you stomp on the police officer's leg. And I was just watching this movie the other day, and basically the police officer looks at you like, "Why are you patting my ankle, like softly?"
Somebody bit you, I think. You know, just a test. Nerve is good. Nerves are good. See, you're feeling pain, so that's good.
Pay a block to the center, which goes to death.
Okie dokie.
And
right for that extra block.
Yeah. Right
so
over
we
here.
want
Yeah, so Death just gives you a look and then walks in the apartment. The police officer looks to you. What the hell are you doing?
Sir,
Why
Mr.
are you
Officer,
stopping on me?
I was afraid that you got bit by the previous encounter and that you might be changing into these things that I have a suspicion are zombies. It was nothing personal. It's purely scientific, I swear. Now stay out, huh?
He starts to get up. I didn't get bit. I just tripped. Some a-hole tripped me with a cane or something. It was black, and and as he turns and looks, you can tell that you see the end of Death's scythe as Death just walks into the apartment. The dog runs over and starts barking. And when the dog runs over and starts barking, Chunk, you can see that there is another person or thing in the crowd of people that's in this hallway that is grappling a person from behind and pulling them into one of the other rooms. You think, at least at that glance, that it could be another undead figure. But you don't know.
I waste no time and I go into heroic mode. And I take my guitar that's behind. I've had the whole time, my electric guitar, and I put it over my head and I throw it like an axe.
I meant to tell you, I borrowed that. I have a card. One of my middle finger card is that I borrowed your guitar, so you don't get to use it.
So I reach back and there's like nothing. Like,
This is an empty case.
Do you get a benefit for that? Did you get a block for it?
Flip another player's strategy card just as they go to use it. Interrupts their action. Steal a block from them. Oh yeah, I also get a block from you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yoink. Vengeance is mine. Good luck.
You flip into hero mode, opening an empty case to find no electric guitar.
crap.
And, did you say something at that moment, Tad? Did you happen to tell him? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw him reaching for it. I was like, yeah, I brought it to that date that I thought I had, and then I got stood up and I got sad, so I kind of left it at the diner.
You son of a bitch! I keep
That's
telling you to let me know when you're gonna borrow thing. Just take
Well,
things.
I'm letting you know now, so yeah, we're good. I just let you know right now, so
No,
I
let
don't
me
know what
when
you're mad about.
take it.
What?
Learning from my previous adventure with Jeffrey, I also grab Tad. I pick him up because he's a little smaller than I am, and but this time I'm gonna use him as a battering ram, and I'm gonna run to knock into that person.
Okay.
It didn't have to be with Tad. It didn't have to be you.
The one that was walking up the stairs, or the one that you think grabbed someone downstairs?
The one that I thought grabbed someone downstairs.
Okay. Okay, so you open the case, you turn, you grab Tad, you start running down the hall, you pass over the dog, the cop looks at you funny, the detective is like, hey, I thought we were going upstairs. You run past Miss Salisbury, and you run into an apartment with an open door. When you run inside, you holding Tad as a battering ram, you see that this room has an open hole in the back of it that's leading to outside, and there are a bunch of decaying. The living dead is in this room. There are several people and a cat that's undead roaming this room. Though what's funny is a couple of them are actually sitting there watching TV, but the others are moving towards the one person who was pulled in and look like they're moving to feast. You have Tad. Just kind of run in. There's that moment where you could stop or keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going to the one that's trying to eat to the person. It just head first. That's head first into the belly.
Charlie, we're gonna need a dark block as Chunk saves the day with an assist from Tad.
I save the day.
And a non-consensual assist from Tad.
Yeah, do that one. Do that one. Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
Damn it.
fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Wow.
So I get a block.
Oh, getting lucky.
You get another card. Just throwing that over there.
And a
Okay.
little block.
What happens when you use Tad as a battering ram?
What is the condition of this person, like decay wise?
The person that you're attacking?
no.
Yeah.
The person that you're attacking, you can see their stomach, as in, like, you can see like into their stomach. It seems there may have been some organs that are still loosely hanging, but for the most part, it's kind of cored out. But there's still some, like, death ooze in there.
So,
Don't
Tat head
do it.
first. His face goes directly into the belly of this thing, like up the neck, like this. The top of his head makes contact with the spine. It snaps and like falls like forward, and so the feet fall. But then I let go of Tat, and the rest of the zombie falls on top of Tat as they're both on the ground now, and he's covered like neck up in zombie inside ooze. His mouth was open when he went in though, because he was yelling as well.
Brian, did you come up with a name for your new character?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
Who is your new character?
His name's Kyle, and he has a Monster Energy drink in hand, and he has to enter the scene in a Naruto run.
Okay. All right. Well, I had an idea, but I'm going to take yours. Kyle dashes in that hole in the back of the room in a Naruto run, realizes all of the dead bodies that are walking around, and rushes right towards the front door, where you see one individual who is not dead. That's Chunk. Chunk, what do you look like?
I'm very handsome. Like, you know, the kind of handsome where like I'm not quite aware that I'm handsome, but I'm really handsome, and the ladies always tell me, but I'm so insecure that I don't really believe it. Like dark hair, like nicely put together with a little thing at the front, and just, you know, just clean, nice t-shirts and some pair of jeans.
Unlike Tad, if Tad had a clean t-shirt, it's no longer clean.
Oh,
Yeah.
plus he's also
But
like,
now I've
very
got, like,
unattractive.
fresh jerky in my pockets, so it's all good.
Okay. Brian, what does Kyle do?
Kyle is a blogger. Yeah, didn't make that up.
So
That's
you're so well equipped for the situation, I see.
Oh yeah, probably filming it with a GoPro, perhaps attached to my chest or my hat. No, it's attached to my hat. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, you've run in this situation. You've been outside. Outside, it's not like hordes, but around this complex, there's a lot of walking dead people. Almost like they're attracted to this place. And you being the blogger that you are, it sounds like you came in a way to see what was going on for the story, but found yourself quickly almost trapped, and then now in the belly of the beast as you run inside to a room full of them.
Yeah. Wrong door. No. Oh, I didn't want to be in here. I'm stuck. Which way's the way out?
Tad, what do you do?
I get up, or I try to, as I'm covered in goo and zombie bits. And I actually kind of want to go out the hole that Kyle just came in, because maybe it's the best chance for escape.
All right. You get up. You find a helping hand, except for this case, it's not helping. It's holding you down. A hand reaches out of the body that you were half stuck into, and starts grabbing onto your arm and to your shoulder and trying to keep you down. What do you do?
I would like to. I'm going to. I still have my megaphone, so instead of using it for any particular noise, I'm just gonna like use the bell side of it to like upswing this monster like right in the face, and try to remove its head from its body. Like it.
Awesome.
Who touches?
Okay. Charlie, if you will. This sounds like light blocks.
Wait, that's not how I remember. Oh, too late.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
I'll take that block
Yeah.
right now. Thank
give
you.
you
Thank
another-
you.
Little finger card over here.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well,
Ooh. All right. So what happens with this arm reaching out and grabbing onto you?
okay, so I It's grabbing on my arm. It's like, "Row," like a good zombie does. And I take the megaphone and I catch the bottom of the bell against its chin. I twist up so the whole head separates and slides into the megaphone. And it's so decayed that it kind of squishes around the central cone of the megaphone. So now it's like inside the bell of the megaphone, there's now a zombie's head, and the little cone is sticking like right outside of its mouth. So it still works perfectly fine. I just have a zombie head like decor within my megaphone.
Okay. Chunk, you've rescued the person, and another person has run right into the little group of you. The person that gets up, that got pulled in, you see what looks to be an older, probably middle-aged guy. He gets up. Oh my God, thank you so much. And he's kind of pushing back one of these zombies or skeletal figures to try to keep them at bay as he's trying to move towards the door. He looks to you. That was amazing what you did. Who are all these people? We need to get out of here.
Jed, dude, what are you doing here? We gotta go now. We gotta go now.
So I almost picture you two hand in hand getting out of the doorway. Brian, what's going on with Kyle?
Kyle is super jazzed that he's found a new place to start filming his blog from that looks to be where the zombies are attracted to. So he immediately turns the camera towards the two non-zombies in the room, trying to interview them and ask them what's been going on in the complex.
Okay. Tad, do you also leave the room?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because I want to be adored, so I'm going to go and follow him and hope to like land in his episodes. I keep like peeking into his shots so people will be like, who's that guy? And I'm going to keep doing that.
Okay, so the group of you moves out of the room. Where conveniently two of the undead figures are still watching TV. Obviously sentient or somewhat mesmerized by the TV. The others, though, they're starting to walk slowly towards the doorway. The door is something you can close, so if you want to close, you can. When you get to the hallway, you have a minute there to talk amongst each other. You hear the dog barking, and you also hear a weird growling sound that seems to be coming from, the other side of the hallway. More people are, talking amongst themselves, unhappy. Some people are trying to get out. So there's a little bit of chaos. What does the group of you say to each other?
Dudes, fellas, new guy. First of all, hi to your fan base. My name is Tad. Please contact me anytime. Beyond that, we have a zombie problem, friends. What are we gonna do about it? We gotta.
I plan on doing the whole thing.
I'm wearing one of them like hair
Is that what
gel.
you want to do?
Let's keep talking at the same time. It'll help.
I know we
Yeah, I think so too.
It's working out great. We're gonna get so much stuff done if we talk like this.
Yep. All right,
I
Chunk.
think
What you got?
Yeah. Me first. We gotta find something to shoot him in the head with, or poke him in the head with. I watch a lot of TV, and I think that's how you kill them.
Pretty sure that officer had a gun, but he doesn't like
he
me
still
because I stomped his ankle. It's a long story.
Do you think he'll let us borrow it?
Good idea.
He might let you borrow it. He probably won't let me borrow it.
Okay, that's my plan. I'm gonna ask the cop to borrow the gun.
What if we just run away
That should
from
go
the
over
zombies?
smoothly.
That should go. So, as you're going up to the police officer to ask about the gun, we are over halfway through the actual play here. So I do have to give away an art print to one of our lucky backers or up pledgers. And
Am I up?
Lydia, when you get a minute, you're going to have to show us what the death plushie for the next hour. Let's see. So I need a die. You're just gonna do this, roll this, and it looks like for our art print here, it is gonna go to a lucky Aaron Marshall. So Aaron, I will message you sometime after this, and you will get a 13 by 19 art print of this image that you see up here, our latest for Rest in Pieces.
Nice.
Okay, and if you're staying to finish the show, when it's over, I'm going to be giving away a death plushie. So Lydia, if you'd show that to the folks. 8 inches of death, people.
It's so cute. I want one.
That's what they called me in college. I
All right,
death
back to our
plushie?
show. Nice. Okay, so you go to the police officer. He's got a name on his shirt, like basically the tag thing, and it just says Marshall. It could be a title, but it's his last name, right? So you see Marshall there. He is up. He is at the doorway, kind of like looking outside the main door, outside the apartment complex. So up the stairs. Him and the detective are both there, sort of looking out the front door. They obviously seem very cautious. What do you say or do, Chunk?
Yo, detective! How many zombies are you taking down?
He looks over to you. It's not about how many. We gotta figure out where they're coming from. If we don't figure that out, it's obviously in this apartment complex. We ran out of time to figure out who or where they're coming from.
Okay, while you do that, seems like you're not gonna need that gun. Can I borrow the gun? Can I borrow the gun to take some more zombies out? You're not using it. Hey, mister, can I shoot your pistol?
Do you have a job, hobby, or deadly
Again,
object here?
I use playing with fire because I feel like I'm definitely playing with fire here. Because I'm definitely risking a lot. And I'm gonna use that.
Okay. Charlie.
There was a security guard in this complex, wasn't there? I bet he would have been good at using a gun.
Oh, too bad he died. Like
So, Charlie, can you pull from the tower? I'm going to say dark block because there's a good chance here that this can go horribly wrong. You're telling the detective that you, who clearly have no reason why you should have the gun given opposed to the trained professional, should give your gun up to Chunk. So, go for a dark block, but you get 2 touches. Crazier things happen.
Oh,
Pulling. Pull harder.
okay, try to try the other side. That's the opposite. Opposite.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna work.
Ooh, good.
Oh.
So, Chunk, say this, and as you say this, a person walks through the front door, and the detective seems to be no longer paying attention to you for a moment, and there's a police officer and the detective are both looking at the person that walks in. The person that walks in is very familiar to you. Her name is Lydia, and Lydia was the first roommate you met at Death's Dungeon, the basement studio apartment. The problem is, Lydia's been dead for a while. And Lydia walks in with wings and a red color to her skin and almost a reptilian look to them. For
Like
the
in the
first
little
time in
top?
your life, it looks like you may have seen an actual demon walk into into your life, if you will. And the police officers are stunned, and the one officer who you asked for the gun literally was reaching to grab the gun to use it, and is just holding in their hands. So you take that opportunity like they were giving it to you.
Yeah, just take it. Yoink.
Okay. The police officer looks at you and looks back, so you feel like they acknowledge that they gave it to you.
Yeah, I go. I spin it, and I holstered it like a badass.
Lydia looks at you and goes, "Chunk?"
Oh, hey, girl, hey, Lydia. What's it going? What you look different.
Lydia looks to you. Oh yeah, things have changed a lot since Death's been visiting me. And she sticks her fist. It's not even like closed. Like she just sticks her hand through the detective's head. Just goes right through the head. And uses the hand that's through the head of the body to lean against the wall. That just gave you this sort of like, "Hey, how's it going?" pose.
What happens to the
I
detective?
get right up there and start filming it because this is the
he's
craziest thing
dead.
my dog's ever seen.
So Lydia, friend or foe? Friend or foe?
What do you mean? I am just coming home. Did you do something?
No, nothing. Just hanging out, just trying to figure out what these zombies things are. You happen to know
I don't know.
what,
You were a little shifty. I'm not. The last time you were a little shifty, it was all of my Gatorade spilled all over the kitchen floor.
You know what? That was one time, and I apologized profusely, and I just had a little drink, and we got over it. We said we'd never talk about there.
Now, Brian, obviously, Kyle has never met Lydia, but Tad, you remember Lydia. Tad,
Yeah, I remember Lydia.
Lydia was the first roommate that died living with death that you know of. I mean, everyone has stories if they live long enough with death of, so-and-so died. It's not uncommon. There's actually some skulls of some of the favorite roommates in the apartment. But the first one you experienced was that Lydia was gone.
Yeah. And I accidentally put a little of her in my coffee one morning when I was extra groggy. Her ashes are up on the mantle with the rest of them. I feel very close to Lydia because of that fact. Hey, Lydia. How's the hanging? You're looking a little red these days and corporeal. How's that working out for you?
She's like, I've never felt more alive. It's so good to be home.
What?
Wait.
Sure. We did just get an opening. Well, you see, we're hunting around to see these undead guys are crawling over the place, trying to get to the source, you see. Initially, we just wanted a gun, but now we gotta know what to shoot at. You know what I'm saying, Lydia? You know what I'm saying.
Oh. Well, if I were you, I'd probably side with us. Yeah, so she pushes the police officer, whose name's Marshall. She just pushes him towards you. Again, the guy just starts falling down the stairs. Here, why don't you take that one?
Out of the way. Yeah, out of the way.
So, Lydia, is this you? Is this your way of moving back in? Is this what's happening?
Moving back in? You replaced me?
I didn't. No,
the
not at
dogs
all.
They're ready for you. So just go ahead and just take it. I'll sleep on the floor.
Yeah, you want a dark small chair? Match your outfit, skin, wings. Mm-hmm.
I'm excitedly bouncing back and forth, filming this like a reality TV show. Like, oh my god, this is so good for my blog. Keep going, guys.
Brian, why don't we pull a block? See if you're getting good footage. So Charlie, you want to get a light block? You get 2 touches.
Boy.
Yes.
Good ones.
Come on, pull it, sir.
Such good ones. Oh, come on, it's a good one.
Ooh, Charlie. How dare.
Come on, Charlie. The hand don't kill me this time.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yes.
I have never in my life seen such a swivelly tower. That was terrifying.
That's an amazing squiggly tower.
Okay. And Brian, we have a card for you over here, and you're grabbing a block. Good. Okay.
Nice.
And Brian, what kind of footage are you getting?
Shaky.
It's
good.
Really
it's good.
Beautiful.
So what?
Yeah, it's like I'm getting somehow magically I'm getting all the best camera angles, even though I only have one tiny GoPro. But I'm getting all the over-shoulder coverage. The lighting's perfectly coming in through the lights, and because it's a zombie apocalypse, there's flecks of zombie dust in the air, but it gives it really cool atmosphere in the lighting. So everybody just kind of looks magical in this moment.
Okay. As you're spinning around taking this amazing footage, Lydia walks by you, and you follow Lydia as Lydia walks into the apartment, and she knows how to jangle the door handle just right to make it open. So obviously she's used to, she's been to room 666 before, and she walks in, but you find yourself more stunned by where your GoPro ended. You find yourself staring at your former self. You see Jeffrey. Though Jeffrey is very much a mangled version of Jeffrey, as you can imagine, someone who's been 1,000 paper cuts. You see the husk of what was Jeffrey, and you realize that the only people that are left in this hallway, other than Miss Salisbury, who for some reason all of the dead are walking around Miss Salisbury, not registering that she's alive.
Because she's well done.
Only living individual you see around you is you, and the two others behind you. So you're staring at Jeffrey. He's walking towards you, and Jeffrey has a nightstick. And he's just kind of waffling it because Jeffrey can't see that well. Because Jeffrey's face had some damage to it. So Jeffrey's like kind of swinging this around and almost moving by smell, like as if like an animal is like smelling the air. What do you do?
Guys, rub up against me. I smell like thin zombie.
I do not question it. Immediately rub up against him.
Rub up on me, guys.
Oh god, it's so gross. I
don't know why.
I gotta film it for the blog. I gotta film. I gotta get every angle. Capture all of this.
I put it on like war paint.
Chunk, why don't you pull from the tower to see if it works for you?
Okay.
Do you have any abilities that would help you here? We call them strategies. But yeah, your hobby or object.
Oh.
I'm not surprised, right? Like,
I only have my. Oh wait.
Not gonna be less good. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't have any. I don't think I have anything.
Charlie, can you pull a light for Chunk?
But a good one, Charlie. Pull a good one.
But a good one.
Pull one that makes it fall.
Squeaky, squeaky,
Charlie,
squeaky.
if you fail, I swear, Charlie.
Ooh.
Are you gonna?
Oh, it's so wiggly! Oh! Oh, it's so wiggly! Oh god! It went crashing.
Ooh. How does it feel? Oh man, fell so hard she just left.
Yikes!
So when
It's a
the
black
tower
hole status.
falls, when the tower falls, we see that usually the shit has risen to a level at which we have to figure out if this is how it ends or where we go from here. But the first thing to figure out is what happened to Chunk. So Chunk's action knocked the tower over, which means that it was a ridiculous failure for whatever Chunk was trying to do, and possibly episode ending. So Chunk was trying to rub up on Ted to get some of that good Ted lovin' to blend in with camouflage. Starting with Chunk, what's the worst possible thing that could have happened?
Is that I was overconfident with that this plan worked, and I went full in to try to like do something like either to stop the zombies or feeling like I was completely invulnerable to anything because I believed Tad.
Yeah.
First mistake.
Cucumber, what do you think is the worst possible thing that can to Chunk? If you like that, you can just piggyback on it.
Absolutely, yeah. So he slathers himself on, but like to the point where like the bacteria is so advanced, right? Like this thing's been rotten for a bit, like the drippy tummy and all that. So it like gets into his system. So he gets like a horrifically fast-spreading bacterial infection, like almost immediately. On top of all the other bad things, like being surrounded by zombies and a demon, he's now horrifically ill.
My crotch is just real bad.
Brian, what's the worst thing that could happen to Chunk?
So he rubs up against the dead people or the dead person, and it works actually extremely well, so well that he goes out into the middle of the zombie horde to try to find the where everything started from. But because he blends in as a zombie, some like ruthless zombie hunter came through and actually killed him with a couple of the other zombies, like a well-placed bow and arrow shot, like a crossbow bolt. So it's like straight out of a zombie hunting movie, but they like killed the one guy that was a zombie. That's what should happen.
Okay. Cucumber, you have the most blocks. Do you agree? Is that what should happen?
I would agree. I do
Okay.
agree. That's absolutely what should happen. And I think that Kyle should get the best footage ever of that like crossbow bolt. Like somehow he gets it on both angles. Like even though it's just him, he gets the shot of it going in, and then from the other side of it coming out the back. Like he was just really fast. He like felt it. And, like he,
But
he like wins a Pulitzer for this beautiful piece.
and like somehow there was a GoPro footage of like the arrow cam of it like speeding towards its target. Yeah.
And then slow
So,
motion going
Chunk,
in the head and out the other side.
I was gonna say Chunk, with friends like me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Dicks.
Okay, Cucumber, you have the most blocks. Given how much time we have,
Ooh.
that should be the end of our
Okay.
story. So you already started with the most blocks. You get to say the first things of an epilogue. So, is there anything you
Oh.
change? Because obviously, you know, the person in that most block next might be like, well, and then Cucumber, you die because you killed my character.
So I think that Lydia would like just as casually as she killed the officer, she would just as casually kind of like half resurrect Chunk. So like he could still like she didn't mean to like kick him out of the apartment, you know, because she knows how that feels. She's a decent demon, so she raises him so he can still hang out at the apartment. She moves back in, and so she and Chunk now share the dog bed. She didn't want my Darth Maul thing. Reminds her of like a bad ex-boyfriend. And so and I give her back her ashes or all the ones I didn't already digest. But yeah, you know, we make room for her, and Death is still pretty aloof to us all, but we all kind of talk shit behind his back, and you know, we have decent breakfasts, and yeah, I like to think we have a nice time. Like I said, yeah. And the zombies have either quelled or like stopped attacking, or they're just the new roomies, like, or the new people in the building. Like we're just kind of like, all right, just don't get too close to Greg, Chomper. Yeah.
Awesome. Chunk, what would you add? You had the next most blocks. So you can't take
so
anything
now that
away
I'm-
that Cucumber said, but you could say whatever else you want to say that wasn't said.
Okay, so now that I'm undead, I started a relationship with Mrs. Salisbury, because we apparently don't realize that she's also not an undead, and we started a like 8-month long romance that we know we go on couple trips. I meet her family, but then after it's a really bad breakup, and I end up eating her a little bit.
And then Brian, last but not least, take us home. What else happens? You could talk about you could talk about Death, you could talk about the apartment,
Yeah.
the complex.
Yeah. At doing all my research for everything that went down, I would end up looking to start a day called Justice for Jeffrey, and all the money raised goes towards local security guards and the night shift security guards, starting with those in parking lots and then going on up to like those that work in government buildings. And the money just raises so for those security guards so they can have better living accommodations so they won't die so poorly not in the line of duty.
Okay, the last thing we do in any Rest in Pieces game is, with all the horrible things we did possibly to each other's characters or to our own, we take a minute to offer some gratitude to the players because it was a fun time for us. So if each of you could think about one thing that another player did that made your game better. Maybe it's something they said to you when we were getting ready. Maybe it was something they said that was funny. Maybe it was something they did in character. But as soon as you got one, say it.
I think Brian coming in with the documentarian angle, it helped me a lot because I know that my character was seeking love, and it was a way for him to like piggyback on that, but also just creatively very fun image for me to play with. I loved that.
Great. Yeah.
I'd like to thank both Cucumber and Chunk for not using the middle finger card on me at all. I thought that was a very nice, honorable way to play the game and not screw me over. And that was, for once, very nice from those two.
Oh, thank you. Anytime. Well, not anytime. This time only.
Yeah, okay.
And I appreciate it that Cucumber brought me back to life at the end of the story, so that I did not just sadly, I was not just sadly forgotten, but I was put back into the story, and I kind of lived happily ever after, sort of.
Brian, I loved that you threw in that like, yeah, some random like undead hunter showed up. It was like, oh, finally! Like I imagine some Rambo Simon Belmont guy just blew through the door or the wall, and then like the first thing that happened was an arrow through Chunk's head.
Yeah, it's only because his disguise was so good.
Okay. Yeah, that scenario was called Raising the Dead. Basically, Death had been spending a lot of time away from the pad and was working on ways to raise the dead. So people in the apartment complex had slowly been disappearing and reappearing. And then obviously the roommates. Yeah, and you kind of end up in a situation where you either kind of drink the Kool-Aid or you don't. Because eventually you are the odd man out when you're the only living in the complex of the undead.
Yeah. So for this game, if we were going to play by ourselves, do we pick pre-made scenarios like this, or do we decide amongst ourselves what scenario to do, or do you just draw blindly? How does that work?
It's really up to you. What I usually say draw blindly, but I acknowledge that, right? Like, if the rules tell you to draw one, there's no reason you can't just pick the one you like, right? But it takes the onus off of like, when I used to run these games in playtests, I found that often we talked a lot about which one to play. And a lot of times there's good reasons to play a bunch of them. So it just kind of became eventually, let's draw one and play it. Sometimes we skip them, like if it's like, oh, we already played Home Shopping Addiction. We've already talked about Death's Lost Love, you know? But yeah, each one, like the core game's got like 13 of these. They're just a card. On one side, it shows like the summary, and the other side, it talks about how to escalate it over the session with examples.
That's awesome.
In this, we kind of had like the first part's always kind of like getting your foot wet, right? So it was about local pets and they've been disappearing. A detective even came by asking questions. And for what it's worth, Death has an alibi, but you know, you guys know it's fishy, even if you know everyone else doesn't. And then it kind of escalates to the old roommates start showing up. Pets or neighbors who you've seen are turning undead. We made it a little bit more of a zombie horror apocalypse thing, but that was also for the sake of, you know, it kind of felt like a good way that we were going, so we just ran with it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I mean, obviously, you know, you don't have to play any of the prepackaged, right? They're there for the people who need something or want something. You don't have to think of it, right? Or make something up. And now it's all there just so that people can play like at the drop of a hat, right? Like that card only told me so much to run off of. The rest was just kind of easy to intuit and to play off of you guys, you know?
Yeah. Look, Charlie's enjoying the
I feel like, Charlie, can you tell us, was there anything you learned about the tower? Because we didn't let you speak any. So
I learned that this thing is steady as fuck. That's what I learned. This thing is not falling down. And also that I really like playing Jenga. It's strangely soothing, but I feel very sorry to Brian, who I fucked over royally.
Yeah, I have to ask, are any of the blocks glued together?
Nope.
Okay, just
I
checking.
just somehow chose the wrong ones for you.
No, it's great. I got to come up with a character,
100%
so it's
think
awesome.
people should play this game because it's a lot of fun. And to me, I want to say thank you to Pete for running this, and for the inclusion of Lydia the Demon. I am very much about Lydia the Demon. And there is your Jenga tower full sound. Because I
Nice
didn't
catch.
unmute myself the last time.
Super sturdy, she says.
There's proof it's not glued together.
Cucumber.
I
That was
really,
super
really
fun.
enjoyed
I wanna
this
play
as,
again.
oh yeah, like as a game that you can just dive in and play with people who may not have even ever played like a role-playing game before. We play a bunch of them, so we're pretty comfortable jumping in, but I feel like I could hand this to like my great aunt and she would have a great time. You know, like just, and
That's
like, and I, Huh?
That's like the big obstacle with a lot of like role-playing games is that you have to like learn a bunch of things before you can just jump in and play. This one you could just jump in and play right away. It takes like 5 minutes to set up a character.
Yeah.
And I like
Yeah,
your
that's
addition
sort
of
of
the
goal.
at the end of it, because really some people do take stuff like that very personally, and it's nice to have something that's like, hey, like the game's over, let's just hash it out. It was fun, it was meant to be silly. Because I mean, in a game that where mechanics are literal middle finger cards, like somebody might get a little butthurt. So this is a nice way to
Yeah.
kind of pad that. It's a nice kind of like improv hug. I love it. And I love the middle finger cards. I was waiting for somebody to quit a poll because one of the ones I pulled was the dude you overhyped it. So I would force them
yeah.
like, if you quit to pull again or knock over the tower. So it was like I was
Yeah.
waiting to nuke it. I was waiting so hard.
That's exactly what that is, right? It's the nuclear card. When somebody's like, all right, I have the most blocks. I want this to end, but I'm not going to push it over. I'm going to make you get screwed. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
fun
like the
games
back
because
and
it's a
forth.
game where we're really
Okay.
right. We want to enjoy the failures as much as the success. Like it's more
Yeah.
fun, given that it's slackers, deadbeat roommates. Like it's all about the failures that keep propelling the problem and the goofy stuff that happens. So yeah, like it needs to be an engine that kind of keeps every player a little out for themselves. And that's kind of what those are, right? The middle finger cards. You each had a pipe dream that's kind of like an objective. So it's little ways to make it so that we're promoting that selfish versus selfless thing, but we're thinking about it, which is kind of inherent to a slacker comedy like Rick and Morty, or like It's Always Sunny, right? They're not necessarily always bad people, but they make bad choices because they're not thinking them through with other people in mind, So, and I'm glad you like the gratitude, because I try to do that for every game I run. I think it's just players don't spend enough time talking to the other players about why it's fun to game together. A lot of times players talk with the GM, or the GM talks to players one-on-one or something. But the players like Cucumber, if you've got a great accent that you're using for your character, or Chunk, if your descriptions keep making me really immersed, or Brian, if every time you come you bring Cheetos, and I'm like, it's the best because like Cheetos and role playing, like if we say that stuff to each other, we're not always talking about the bad stuff, we're talking about the good stuff, right?
And I love that is so core to a game that is all about like fuckery. And I think that kind of speaks to our brand specifically, because like we're super like not mean to each other, but we josh each other hard all the time on every show that we do. So it's like, but it's out of love, and like this somehow boils down that essence in like its purest form, where it is very much like, hey, we're gonna really screw with each other, but it's all just for a good time. And I think that's awesome. You did the thing.
We did. So this is where I have to say,
So why don't you talk us through the Kickstarter and the various goals that you have for it and that kind of stuff? Because you got 3 days left, right? 3 days till Doomsday.
Yeah. So Thursday at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Kickstarter ends. The game is called Rest in Pieces. The little title we gave it is Jenga-ish Ridiculous Roommate Role-Playing. It's a dark comedy game, clearly based off of, like we said, fun shows like The Regular Show, art inspired by Invader Zim, Rick and Morty. Like what Cucumber said, it's a game about fuckery. Like it's all about poking at each other and getting a reaction. It's not completely a cooperative experience like most role-playing games. It's got a little competition, but it's still a role-playing game because like there's not a win condition, right? I mean, there is like when the tower falls, but like you're still playing to see what happens, right? Like the story unfolds as you play, and that's the goal, right? You're not trying to beat the other players necessarily. A little bit, right, with more blocks, but all that gives you is a little more creative control, a little more say. So it's a game that you can just play at the drop of a hat. It's all cards. You guys you played it, but like the rules are literally on 10 cards. So like you will buy this at a convention or at a game store and then go in the back and go play it right away. Like you can just play it, and it can play in an hour. If you like longer sessions, you can play more stories. You can continue. Like we didn't continue in this case, but sometimes it's common to continue to like a 2-hour game. If you want to play 2 sort of short episodes. Sometimes it's 2 different problems. Sometimes it's just a continuation. You're not happy with how it ended. You're like, oh no, we're not done with this yet. Maybe Brian wants his revenge or something, you know?
Jeffrey's revenge.
Together,
He's
have a
coming back.
seance, resurrect Jeffrey.
So, yeah, the game is as cheap as $39 if you want to get the box set that comes with the 2-color tower, the deck of cards. We have some Kickstarter exclusive cards that are unlocked if you back before Thursday. It gets even cooler if you start upping that to 64 or $100 because we start giving you alternatives to death and alternatives to the basement studio apartment. You might live with Karen, the ferryman to the underworld, and live in the boathouse on the edge of the river Styx. You might live with the Great Cthulhu and the Sunken Kingdom, which is just a dilapidated sort of Victorian home. And these characters has their rest in peace comedic twist. Like the Great Cthulhu is sleepy, oblivious, and a perfectionist. Most recently, we unlocked the 80s D&D Game Master or Dungeon Master, but our version's the Game Master. And the Game Master has a fascination with pro wrestling. So you live in the gym on the Borderlands. If you're listening and you haven't backed yet, we haven't had another backer or up pledge in the second hour. It looks like everyone dumped in the first hour. So it only takes a little bit of a pledge right now to get yourself a free death plushie. So I'll talk for a few more minutes to buy you some time. But
Yeah.
there's a $50 death plushie waiting for you if you back. Unless 6 of you back at the same time, and then then it's one. And you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we have a lot of great
And then
characters.
it is a fight to the death.
And then it's a
Yes,
fight to the
literally.
death.
Right? Then it's a fight to the death. That's what happens. While we are doing that, what I would really love to do is to give you all an opportunity to plug anything else that is exciting to you, whether it's that you love your dog, whether you have a charity that you love, or another project. I'd love to hear about those things. And why don't we go reverse order, and let's begin with the wonderful professional Cucumber.
Oh, hello,
Ooh.
everyone. Hello. Well, we do charity streams every now and then, but for the most part, you can find us always at Perception Studio on Twitch and elsewhere. But pretty much, if you search it, you'll find us.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of laughs, lots of RPGs, video games, talk shows, all that good stuff. Yeah, we love board games too. We have a board game show.
Very nice.
Well, I work
and
I work with them,
You
so it's the
work
same
with
stuff.
Yeah.
what about this show that I keep hearing about on LFM? I hear there's a show on LFM.
We're doing another show. We're on a show called Degrees of Madness on LFM Network. Duh. I'm an idiot. It's on a Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on LF Network. Check out Cucumber and I on that as well.
2 p.m. Pacific, to be specific, because everybody's from everywhere.
2 p.m. California, because we're in California.
Yeah,
I don't know where
California.
And Brian, thank you so much for joining us today. Anything from you?
Thank you for having me on board. It was super fun. Echo everything these guys said, because I play with them on Perception Check. I don't do the LFM thing, but that sounds fun. I haven't watched it yet. Sounds cool though.
Well, thanks for
And,
being supportive.
yeah.
Fun.
Hey,
thank you
yeah,
for
I'm
your
here
help.
for you guys. Thanks for dragging me out here.
Well,
You
I
guys are so
super
amazing.
hope
I look at each other.
you come back.
We're used to it.
What did you say, Charlie?
I just said I super hope that everyone will come back and play again. We play a lot of different games. This one was super fun. I'm not usually just a
Yeah.
disembodied hand, but I'm alright with it. I can live this way.
Masterful.
Mitch
Mitch
good.
was trying to
Very
get
well
me.
for me.
Mitch was trying to get me to do blind pulls. Maybe we'll do that next time. Maybe we'll do a charity stream of this game, and we'll let you do horrible things to me, and I'll play Jenga with my eyes closed and things like that. We'll see.
Oh, Jenga. Kidding.
As for me, I want to plug what's coming up next, which is a brand new game called Song of the Deep. It's a new chapter of a D&D campaign, which was originally called Lessons in Deep Magic. It's using Snowhaven 5e, and it's got some super cool stuff coming up. So if you love some D&D, stay where you are, or maybe run, grab some snacks, come back, because that is coming up next. And the next time we will be live after that is done will be Wednesday from 6 till 9 when we play a game called I Hunt, where hustling to pay rent is more difficult than killing monsters, which is something we can relate to, I think, around here. But Pete, any last words from you, friend?
No, good to go. I'll give people for the death plushie, until the hour. So, if people right after this, or you got a few more minutes, I'll give you a little more time. I want to thank the cast at Perception Studio, Brian, Chunk, and Cucumber. That was awesome. Thank you. You were much more civil than I expected. I really thought you were going to pull my hair out or turn me all white in one day. So I appreciate that.
We were having fun. We were enjoying the game.
Yeah,
Good,
next time we
good.
play, we'll utterly dismantle you. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're nice to you the first time, and then we get comfortable.
Yeah, first time is testing limits. Second time is bringing out the baseball bats. We're ready.
Yep.
Charlie,
On that
I have
note,
the tower. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I love that you were kind of aggressive with the tower at times. Like visually, it was like, why is she shaking it so much to show us it's stuck? But it was great. It was great for a camera.
I had only a hand to work with. I'm a very aggressive role player. My role was to aggressively show you the tower.
Why doesn't everybody
all right.
watching give her another hand?
Yay.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna hand this on over to Voice of Jay Britain and the wonderful Kickstarter ad for Rest in Pieces. So if you haven't checked it out, I'm throwing links in chat. If you're on YouTube and you made it this far, check out down below. All the links. Where's my hand? There it is. All the links will be down in that wonderful description box, including links to all of our stuff like the Discord, where you can join us. That's where I post casting, news, shenanigans, and memes. Basically everything you possibly want. So, so long, farewell, take care, everyone. We love you, and we will see you very soon. Good night.
Goodbye.
Look at him. I mean, really, look at him. What an asshole. I mean, charming roomie. I'm still getting paid for this, right? Okay, let's do this. Welcome to Rest in Pieces, the game about deadbeat roommates that share a pad with the coolest guy ever, the Grim Reaper. A dark comedy tabletop RPG that plays with a two-color Jenga tower, with influences from your favorite shows such as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rick and Morty, and The Regular Show. But none of us are that funny, Grim. The game utilizes unique cards and the knockoff Jenga tower to create ridiculous stories about bad days and difficult friendships. The best thing is you can pick up and play in less time than it takes to put more toilet paper on the roll. Click the pledge button and become roomies today at a month-to-month rate that is well within reason for minimum wage. Wait, Grim? Grim? Are you renting out my room?